Good evening, and welcome to the Rick Williams Show. I'm your co-host, Dale Garfield, and today we have a very special guest with us, Rod Grimes, the author of The Blue in Me. I tell you, I'm sitting here and I'm just going through his bio, and I'd just like to read a little bit about him to you guys. He has a background in law enforcement and community service. He is a proud father of one son and two granddaughters. He has over 40 years of service in law enforcement in the city of Detroit. Man, I tell you, that's impressive. Rod Grimes have obtained a degree, associate's degree in business administration and accounting. His studies have taken him through Wayne Community College, Wayne State University, and Eastern Michigan University. Wow, Rod, that is an impressive, and there's more here. This is what I just pulled out. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Dale. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks, man. Hey, I'm excited, man, about this interview that I'm going to do with you. I'd just like to kick it off with a couple of questions. You okay with that?
I'm absolutely okay with that.
Oh, man, that's awesome, man. I'm just sitting here, man. Anything you want to share with us, man, about, just in this opening here, man, about how, you got here to this point?
Absolutely. Um, my journey has been amazing. It's been so many great times, ups and downs throughout my career. It's been very exciting for me. But to get to this point here, to do this interview as a result of writing the book, that all came about, Dale, as frankly as me wanting to leave a legacy for my grandchildren. I wanted them to be able to look back and see what their granddad did with his life.
That's awesome.
So,
That's awesome, man. I tell you, just sitting here reading the book, man. Again, I'm sitting here and I have a lot to pull out that I pulled out just out of my own curiosity here.
okay.
I'm just sitting here, just for an example, man. I'm looking here, chapter 9, and actually, let's go back to chapter 14. I'm sitting here with my notes, and I'm looking at it talks about keep your hat on. Man, that chapter there, man, it just blows me away that hat means that much.
Yeah, believe it or not, it does. And a lot of people don't see the significance of the hat and the purpose of that hat. It's part of the uniform, and though it has changed over the years, but that hat piece, it do a few things. It shows further representation of who you are. But for me, and the reason that I want to share the story that I did in the book, um, every time I think about that, I think back to an incident that happened.
Okay.
It was an unfortunate, tragic incident. We were always taught, wear your hat, keep your hat on. And as young officers, and even veteran officers, like, man, this darn hat is just a nuisance.
Right.
Unfortunately, and it happened on a day of all days, no crime day, something that one of our professional athletes was trying to rally the city around,
Okay.
and created this no crime day. Unfortunate incident happened. There was a break-in at an elderly man's home in the middle of the day. Officers responded as normal.
Wow.
One officer went toward the front, other officer moved toward the back to check the perimeter.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, the homeowner was inside, armed with a weapon, and afraid, fearing for his life because someone was trying to break in.
Okay.
He saw the head walk by the window, and he mistook that head for the perpetrator, and he fired, striking the officer in the head and killing him.
Wow.
Now, if he had had his hat on, that citizen would have realized, oh, that's the police here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So keeping your hat on, it's very near and dear to my heart because we lost a hero that day. So that was one of the reasons I shared other incidents in the book.
Right.
But yeah, you want to wear everything that you have at your disposal to identify you because you never know at any given point in time where just that little extra identification can make a difference.
Right. That whole uniform is like an ID.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's
Absolutely.
amazing. Well, I tell you, man, just sitting here, man, again, man, and hey, looking at chapter 9, that was a nice one. Um, it kind of made me chuckle a little bit because I'm sitting here like, but then when I start reading into it, man, how you started out, having a bad day, and in chapter 9 it says, hey, everybody's going to jail today. That
Mm,
kind of throw you for a loop when you read a title like that,
sure.
a chapter. But then when you get into the chapter and you see, man,
Mm,
you had some issues with your girlfriend and this, that. You talk about it, man.
sure. I will happy to talk about that. So everybody's going to jail today. Um, it's a result of something that happened at home
Hmm.
prior to me coming to
All
work
right.
that particular day. And it's important that readers and everyone understand police officers are human.
Right.
We put the uniform on, it gives us this sense of we look different, other than human, if you will, because we're all in a uniform. But the person that put that on
Hmm.
still have its everyday challenges like everyone
Right.
else. And on that particular day, uh, I had some challenges that I brought to work with me. Unlike anyone else, we all take our personal life with us everywhere we go. It's important that we try to keep it separated, and even more so as a public servant, and definitely in the police field, because you have so much authority
Right.
and you have so many different situations that you will come across in a given day, some at the spur of the moment, drop of a dime, or some that you may know what you're going into prior to arriving. So
Right.
you got to try to keep your mind clear and open. And it can be challenging sometimes because we are human.
Right.
And I just wanted to put a story about that in the book, um, just to share, but also let people understand we're human. And we sometimes have to fight back the urge to let our personal life interact with our professional.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And there's a balance to that. I'm just, as I was reading, I saw myself in a similar situation, and I'm sitting here as a civilian, but then I'm
Mhm.
thinking, about reading the book. I'm like, man, I had a little conflicted because I'm like, but aren't there? Wasn't he trained? Wasn't he, trained on how to control? That's what I'm thinking in the back of my mind. He's a
Mhm.
he's a robot.
Hmm.
He's programmed,
Yes.
but
Yes.
that's not the case.
Not at all. We go through extensive training,
Right.
but that human part is going to always be there.
Man, I tell you, that's good. That's good. That's really rich. And I tell you, man, just a personal question of mine that I wanted to just get out, man.
Hmm.
Just was as I'm reading the book, I'm like, I might have them here. Let me go ahead and just ask some of these questions here.
Okay.
Um, Man, what sticks out in your mind that throughout your 40 years? Well, you had a chance to go back and do it again. Some things that you probably would have done differently.
For me, um, I probably would have put more time into my educational experience.
Okay.
And what I mean by that, um, yes, I attended Detroit Business Institute, got an associate's degree, went on to Wayne State, Wayne County Community College, and Eastern Michigan University. You can never get enough
Okay.
education. Not to say that having XYZ letters behind your name make you bigger and better, but it's knowledge.
Right.
And whenever you can enrich yourself with more knowledge, I think you find yourself in a better space. So I always encourage education. When I speak to young people, I always talk about education first. I think that's one of the topics that I hit on early.
Awesome.
It's very important, I think, as um, a mature individual in age, that I take that and share that with younger people, kind of plant that seed. Earlier the better. Get that education.
And that's good. I'm sitting here looking at my next question.
Okay.
I mean, if you had the opportunity now, to go back and to talk to a new cadet,
hmm
someone new to the force, what advice would you give them?
Well, as I said, the educational part,
Okay.
take advantage of getting that education as you train and move forward through your career. But more importantly, do not get stagnant. And what I mean by that,
Mhm.
Dale, is most departments have opportunities to
Okay.
move around in your department, learn all that you can about the various assignments within your department. I had the fortunate opportunity to be in a large law enforcement agency, Detroit Police Department. We had many, many, many different units, assignments, divisions that you can work in. All of them specialized in some sort of way. Don't get stagnant.
Okay.
By all means, get that patrol experience.
Right.
That's the backbone of what we do. But then move. Maybe go to auto theft. Maybe go to Vice. Maybe go to Bomb Squad. Maybe go to Gang Squad. Narcotics, sex crimes. Pick a different unit within the department. Go try it. Find where your passion is. Then check it out.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. It keeps it new and exciting for you. The worst thing an officer can do is become routine.
Wow.
That is probably the most dangerous thing an officer can do, is take things as routine,
Wow.
because there's never anything routine about a police officer's job.
You become a little relaxed.
You become relaxed, complacent. Oh yeah, this traffic stop, he went through a light a little late. I know he's going to give me this story. I heard them all. So you walk up and maybe not be on guard like maybe you need to be.
Right.
And unfortunately, there have been times where officers found themselves interacting with someone who may be in the process of fleeing some law enforcement event.
Hmm. Cool. Yeah, let's get back into the book a little bit. I
Absolutely.
had to take a little side venture, man, and got a little bit more on the side venture, but we'll hold off on that for a minute here.
Okay.
Um, this is a chapter that really I didn't really know about,
Mhm.
was missing reserves.
Mm,
Just reading in chapter 47.
yes.
Um, I didn't know that the reserves were that important. And when you think of reserves, you think of the Army.
Yes.
Just reading the chapter, I had no clue that how vital they were to the police department.
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. So, Dale, law enforcement is a paramilitary operation.
Okay.
It's kind of somewhat modeled around military. So, with that being said, as you do understand reserves, and you mentioned that you thought about military. Well, same thing. We have a group of civilians
Okay.
that are dedicated to their community, that want to give service, who were not able necessarily to become a fully sworn police officer, or who had a professional career path that was not in law enforcement, but had a love and desire to help out in their community. So being a reserve is a great way to do that. They volunteer maybe 20 hours a month, and that keep them their active status. So I had the opportunity to work in the reserve unit as a sworn member of the department and as a supervisor. And one of the things I was challenged with was, where are all of our reserves? We had a number of reserves on the books,
Right.
but they were not outperforming.
Wow.
And their jobs and the assignments that they work are so critical to a police operation. I mean, when you can have events like a Tigers game or Lions football game or the festivals downtown at Hart Plaza, and you can deploy 75 to 100 reserves to mix in with some of your fully sworn police officers,
Right.
that give you a larger presence,
Absolutely.
which allow you to utilize your sworn members out in the community,
Right.
dealing with the criminal elements that we know that are going to be taking
Right.
place.
Like in the book, talking about, traffics, things like that. Minor.
Yeah,
Frees up for the, for the larger police department to do, their job, but not have to deal with the small things.
right. And traffic control, and just
Traffic
people
control
control, and
also.
just having a presence,
Right.
and that's what's important.
Just the presence, someone who's trained.
Yes,
And also they can give information to other units to come and assist
if needed, absolutely.
if needed. The eyes
Yes,
and the
absolutely.
ears.
There you go.
Yeah, it was just something I just wanted to just,
Mhm.
get a little bit more information about. Because I'm
Absolutely.
sitting here like, man, maybe I could be a reserve.
Absolutely.
Hey, there's no age limit on when you can become a cop, right?
Well, there is an age limit that when you can become a police officer, but not a reserve.
Really?
Yes,
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm learning something. You
absolutely.
guys heard that, right? Let's get back to some of my notes here.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here, and you've been on the force for a while, and man, it's amazing. I've seen a lot of things. I've been in the auto industry, and I've seen a lot of things that disappointed me. Decisions that were made,
Mm.
and I just want to know, throughout your 40 years, what have you observed that really kind of disappointed you?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Dale. Um, the system that we live and work in, and the system that keeps us grounded as a nation, even. We have three bodies of government, and the judicial system. There have been some experiences I've had where I felt that the system really let us down as a community.
Okay.
But there's no system that's perfect.
Right.
I understand that. But to watch the system go through the steps of um, what they're supposed to do and see the outcome and the reason why the outcome was the outcome, um, sometimes was disappointing. And that's not to say that watching a case go from arrest um, to decision on innocent or guilty, but maybe it never even got to a trial because of what would be deemed a technicality.
Okay.
Um, and unfortunately, there are more than a few that technicalities allowed individuals to walk. And there's one incident in the book that I put in that
Right.
it was unfortunate that that technicality allowed someone to walk and what occurred after.
Wow.
So disappointed, grateful, but at the same time, when certain incidents occur and we know and feel like something else should have happened, but because of maybe a technicality within the system allowed it to go in a different direction,
Absolutely.
was disappointing. Was disappointing.
Yeah. So with that disappointment, man, that leads me into a question that, my parents were, all the way back to my grandparent. He was in the auto industry.
Yes.
My mom, my dad, auto industry. Here comes me, auto industry. Brother, auto industry. So me choosing to go into the auto industry,
Hmm.
it wasn't any disappointment.
Hmm.
It was more of a celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah. Had anybody in your family looking down at you with some type of maybe ostracizing you from family gatherings because hey, here comes cousin. You get what I'm saying,
I
right?
understand. Yes. Believe it or not, Dale, quite the opposite.
Really?
Yes. I joined the force early on at age 21, and that was back in the 70s. And I can tell you, Dale, that there was an admiration for me from not only family, but friends who looked at me and said, wow, you're stepping up to make a difference. And I was more celebrated.
Right.
And it was very rewarding to know that not only did family support me in my decision, so did my friends.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I would have never guessed that.
yeah, yeah.
I would have never guessed that. It is that's amazing. Um we're friends, right? So I
Oh,
can ask you this question.
please
I'm
do.
sitting here, shaking in my boots about this one. Have any of your family was, hey, my cousin, he's a cop, he's gonna get me off, threw your name out there to think they was gonna get some favor or something like that?
Uh-huh. No, I can say that no one in my family has ever found themselves on the wrong side of the law and had to utilize my name to help them out. Now, good thing for them that they didn't need that because I am a law enforcement officer and I'm here to uphold the law and not give out get out of jail free
Cool,
opportunities.
cool. Man, just off the rip, man. I'm sitting here as you were talking, and I'm thinking about family. Um, and I'm thinking about, wasn't there something in the book about the riots and where, incidents where, what's it? Uh, man, it's stormy, man. But does that bring back anything, man, within the book about your experiences through the riots in the 70s,
Well, the riots in the 60s.
60s? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Then I wasn't there yet.
No. Okay. Yeah, as a young man, and I was just a young kid, not even a young man. The riots happened in 67.
Okay.
Um, I was 11 years old when that occurred. And I do remember, um, you know, the military being out on the streets and the race riots and the tragic occurrences that took place where we lost, I believe, 40 some lives in that violence and that uprising. Um, but through it all, was it necessary? People will say, yeah, sometimes you do have to rise up to bring out attention to change things. I'll leave that for others to decide
Yeah.
on when and where and how. But the riots, they did bring about a change, and the change happened within our police department shortly after that. The riots happened in the late 60s, and then more and more people of color
Okay.
were able to apply for the
Okay. I
job
got you.
position of police officer.
I got
And
you.
that began to change the climate, the culture in
Right.
policing within a city.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So getting back here in the book here, let's see here. Man, this was a tough one for me. Taking the bullet.
Mm,
Looking at chapter 32 here, talking about being a bodyguard. I don't know, for lack of a better word. That's what when I read that chapter, I'm sitting there like, how you gonna throw yourself to protect somebody else's life,
mhm.
you know, without giving too much what wasn't with of what's in the book.
Mhm.
Man, talk about that a little bit.
Absolutely. As I grew up and had a passion to want to become a police officer, and as I thought about that, where would I feel I can, flourish? It was protection. My original vision, once I wanted to travel down the path of being a law enforcement officer, was to become a Secret Service agent,
Hmm.
chase presidents all over the world, keeping them safe.
Okay.
That was a dream and a passion that I felt. Um, that didn't happen, but I became a police officer. And as my career moved forward, I had an opportunity to do that same work on a different level here at the local level, where in our department, in our city, our mayor has a detail. It's a protection detail. And I can tell you that it's nothing short than exactly what Secret Service do for the president, just a smaller scale. So just laying that kind of background for you, um, I had an opportunity to be selected to be a part of a mayor's detail. I understood clearly what that means. For me, it means the mayor goes home every day.
Okay.
Every day, the mayor goes home, even if I don't.
Wow. Wow. And you say that in the book.
And I mean that. It was a dedication to the service of which I applied and committed myself to.
Right.
I wanted to protect the mayor. People say, well, why would you do that? You can't do it for someone if you don't believe in them. If you don't feel that they can do the job and make this case, the city, a better place, how do you find yourself making that type of dedication and commitment?
Cool. Cool.
So
Well, Rod, I really thank you for coming out onto the Rick Williams show and sharing your book with us. Um, how can viewers get in contact with you?
okay. Well, first of all, let me just say thank you, Dale, and thank Rick for the opportunity to come on the Rick Williams Show. It's been a pleasure to have this conversation with you. I look forward to getting the feedback. But yeah, to get a hold, to reach me, it's simple. You can go to rodgrimesbooks@gmail.com. That's the email address. Or you can go to my website, theblueandme.com.
Thanks for being on the show.
Yep, and absolutely. And if those that are interested in purchasing the book, you can go to Barnes & Noble or Amazon, where it's available. Or catch me out on the signing tour. I do book signings, and I always have books available for purchase.
When is your next book signing?
Thank you for that question. My next book signing will be June 4th down at the main library on Woodward Avenue. I will have a book signing there from 4 to 6 p.m.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you.
Again, my name is Dale Garfield. I am the co-host of the Rick Williams Show. I would like to say thank you for tuning in.